and vegetables to get their daily vitamins and minerals. Does anybody take vitamins supplements? Well, we decide to eat healthy because our bodies need those vitamins and minerals to stay strong and healthy. Plants are the same way. Agricultural plants use inorganic fertilizers as daily nutrients on a day-to-day basis. Those nutrients are put into our soil, they're dissolved in the water, and the plant's roots take them up. There's three macro components that are in inorganic fertilizers. There's phosphorus, nitrogen, and potassium. Half of this world is fed as a result of inorganic fertilizer use. Even though billions of people are fed as a result of these synthetic chemicals that are put into our foods, there are advantages and disadvantages. First, I'm going to go over the pros of using inorganic fertilizers. The first one is it improves harvest yields. The main issue when cultivating soil is the nitrogen balance in the soil, and when farmers continually harvest the same crop season after season, it disrupts the nitrogen balance in the soil. So when they apply the inorganic fertilizer to the soil, it makes that soil nitrogen rich and allows the plants to grow. It improves harvest yields up to 100% in wet seasons and up to 50% in dry seasons. Also, it increases the bunch weight of the crop, and it shortens the crop cycles. So that means that farmers can produce more crops in a shorter amount of time. It means more money for the farmers. Another pro is that the release rate of the nutrition is more controlled. So, for example, if you have a garden at home and you apply inorganic fertilizers to your garden, those nutrients are being applied to your soil whenever you apply it, like right away, in any weather conditions. As opposed to organic fertilizers, it takes about a week or two for that compost or manure to break down, and it takes a certain temperature for it to break down and get into the soil. So you'll have instant effects when using inorganic fertilizers. The next pro is the chemical makeup is available on the bag when you purchase it. There's three main macro components: it's the phosphorus, nitrogen, and potassium. And there's three main microcomponents, which are magnesium, zinc, and sulfur. So as a farmer, you can control what kind of chemicals you're putting in to your plant. So now that we talked about the pros, I'm going to talk about the cons. Too heavy of an application can cause the plant to burn. And how that happens if the soil has too much nitrogen in it, the roots from the crop actually dehydrate, and the thirsty cells in the plant can't absorb that water, so the plants just eventually die off. Another con is the trace minerals in the soil deplete over time. Soil scientists, they did a study from a 100-year span, and they proved that 85% of our trace minerals that we need have been depleted out of our soil in the United States. And that came from Dr. William Albridge, the chairman of soil department of the University of Missouri. Another con is the process of eutrophication. Eutrophication is a process that happens in our waterways. And what happens is, for example, you put fertilizer on your lawn, you water your lawn, and half of that fertilizer you put on your lawn runs down into our waterways and causes algae blooms. And that water eventually reaches ponds, lakes, streams, estuaries, and eventually reaches our ocean. And all this nutrient-rich water that flows down there, it causes these algae blooms, and all of that plant life around the pond, for say, takes all that nutrients and it just grows and grows, and all that algae in the water grows and grows, but once all that nutrients is gone, everything dies and sinks to the bottom, and it depletes the oxygen in the water, and it kills our fish because they suffocate. And then once that happens, that area is called a dead zone. And a good example of a dead zone is the Gulf of Mexico. All those agricultural fields that are lining like the Mississippi River, all that water leaching into the Mississippi River runs down, hits the Gulf of Mexico, and becomes a dead zone where marine mammals can't survive. So now that you guys know the pros and cons of the use of inorganic fertilizers, you can choose if you want to use them or not. Farmers love to use inorganic fertilizers because it produces maximum harvest yields, which means more money. But when it comes to people, animals, and our environment, it's polluting our systems and it's trashing our environment.